right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trays for my dehydrator that I'm going to fill with these, and then get them set up here. I'm going to put them up on my counter so it's out of the way, and then just keep stacking them like that. So we'll just keep working and getting these filled. Shouldn't take very long. Make sure I've got them going the right way so I have enough space in between them. So with these, I didn't wash them because we had just had a rain, and they're high enough off of the ground. I wasn't worried about dirt. I have looked through, and there's no bugs out there. Well, there aren't any bugs on these that I picked. So I'm just gonna dry them as is, and then put them in a glass jar when I'm finished. They are very fragrant. They're definitely not a sweet smell. And I can't put my finger on what they do smell like. They kind of have a fragrance all their own. I don't want to pack it too tight, but I do know that as they start to dry, they're going to really shrink down. So I'm just going to keep stacking here. Make sure I don't squish them too bad. Now with this dehydrator, it doesn't spin, but I do have a temperature control of the heat amount that I can add or use to dry all of these. So I'm going to put it on a lower setting, probably between 95 and 104. We'll see how that does while I'm working in the kitchen, and if I need to, then I can turn it up if I see that they're not really drying that well. I know I've got a manual somewhere, but I don't know. Yeah, they probably have in the manual what to set herbs on. But I'm terrible with misplacing manuals. I need to just start putting them all in one spot. So I'm not quite sure where it's at. So I've got 2 more trays here to fill, and then I'm still going to have quite a bit left. So I'll probably have to do it in batches. I'm pretty sure I'll have to do it in batches. I don't know that I want to stick these delicate flowers and try and do it in the oven. So, something to share with you that was kind of a disappointment today. Well, it was really a disappointment. So, I was talking yesterday on the last video about how Mom and I had a bunch of beautiful beets that came up with this harvest, the first planting that I had, and we harvested all of those, and Mom helped me put all of those up. Well, I lost them all. I thought anyway. I had lost all but 4 of my larger jars. So I was thinking, okay, well that's bad, but it happens. But at least I've got 4 of the larger jars, so I'll just plant more and go from there. Well, I went to my pantry and was pulling out something for supper this morning, and I noticed that there was red beet juice all over one of the shelves. I thought, oh no, another one of my other ones opened. It didn't completely seal. Well, come to find out, 4 of them. Another 4. So now I'm down to little pints. All of my quarts are gone. So it was pretty discouraging this morning. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get those planted today. We were supposed to have rain all day today. Well, they took that out of the forecast. I guess it moved through last night, which it was pretty heavy rain. We needed it. So that was good. But so, I mean, the ground is really wet this morning, so I don't want to go out and plant anything. But I think maybe this afternoon, it's supposed to be partly cloudy, so it's not going to be super hot. I might be able to get out there and at least get those beets going. I would really like to get the beets and the green beans going, so then I don't have to worry about it. We're going to be gone today's Thursday, we're going to be going Friday and Saturday. We've got a church conference that we're going to in Illinois tomorrow on Friday, and then we've got family reunion that we're looking forward to on Saturday, which is in Illinois also. That's where most of our family is. So if I can get everything in and planted today, then I won't have to worry about it, and maybe I can start seeing germination in the middle of next week, and then next week plant my carrots and my lettuce and things like that and get them covered. So we'll see what the day holds. I've got a lot to do, and I still need to do some editing and posting and blogging and some computer work. So we'll see. We'll see how much energy I have left after all of this. So yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. So I got my last tray filled. I'm gonna put it, boy, they're all tangled. I'm gonna put this on the top. So I'm stacking them up and put this up here on the top. Like that. I'll get my lid. Put my lid on. There's some, oh, I want to keep you in there. There, and then I'm going to turn it on, and I'm just going to leave it sit here, and we'll see how it dries today. So I'm setting it here on 95 to 104, and then the next one's 113 to 131 temperature, and we'll just see. Like I said, we'll just see how they do and go from there. So next I'm going to do the calendula and the zinnias. So I've got my calendula and my zinnias, and I'm just going to separate out the flowers. And then I went ahead and pulled down my dried feverfew that I had hanging up there. So I will bag those up here in a little bit, get those out of the way. With the zinnias, yeah, I'll have more, but I wanted, they look a little browned. I want to get those upside down so that then the flowers or the petals grow a little bit straighter, and, or not grow, dry a little bit straighter. I take them and hang them upside down. I cut the stems enough that I can hook them together like this. And then all I do is I save twist ties for things like this. So I'm just going to take a twist tie, wrap it around the stem, and then hook it and hang it up over my line up there. So because my dehydrator is obviously full right now, we just filled it. Otherwise, I might do the next batch of these then in the dehydrator if I've got it available. So right now I've got about 4 of them. I want to make sure that they're not too cramped because I need the air to get to them, because I don't want them to get yucky and moldy. So we're just going to tie, oops, okay, we'll just do 3. I'm going to tie that twist tie around there, get it good and tight, and then all I do is I just make a little hook like that, and then hang it up on my wire, just like that. So I'll show you when I've got them all done. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 bunches, and I'm going to, so you can see up here, I'm going to hang these up some of these leaves to dry too, because they're such a pretty green. That's what those look like up there. And I'll leave those hang probably for a couple of weeks, and just keep checking them to make sure that they're really dry. And yeah, then I'll go ahead and I'll put them in a airtight container until I'm ready to use them for the soaps. So now I'm going to work on the calendula, and then, but I also need to get supper started. It's about 10:15, and I'm going to roast one of our chickens. So I need to get that seasoned and put into the oven. So I will do that and then get started on the calendula. Okay, so I have got old jars that I got honey in. One I had pickles in. So I'm just going to use that to make my infused oil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take and clip the heads into here. And leave the stems off. It's what I ended up with then for the amount of calendula that I have in here. So I'm going to grab my sunflower oil instead of the avocado oil. And basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these with oil, put a cap on it, I'll mark it the date that I started this, and then I'll put it up with my other oils and tinctures. And just keep watching it. I'll come through a couple times, two, 3 times a week, and I'll just kind of shake it and make sure everything is being dispersed properly. So yeah, I mean, it's not hard. And then once it's done being infused, I'll strain it, put it in a glass jar, a dark glass jar, so that I have it then when I need it. So I'm just going to kind of push this down and make sure they all get down into the oil. At least for the first few days, and then I can come through and shake. Now I use my scissors only because I have to wash them anyway. So otherwise I would have used a chopstick or something, but it was laying right here. Okay, so I'm going to put a lid on it. Grab a marker. And I'm just going to write on the top of this, calendula, oil, and today's date. What are we at? The 10th. Are we at the 10th? No, we're the 9th. 23. So then that way I know how long it's been in here, how long they've been infused, so I don't strain them out too early. But then if I wanted to let them go just a little bit longer, then I can, and make sure the potency is where I want it. So, I mean, you can only get so much, you can only get what you can get out of them. All right, for the next project that I need to get finished today is to get all of these dried Feverfew that I had hanging. I need to get those into my container so that when my next couple of batches are done, I can just keep adding to. So I started trying to do it by hand, and it just wasn't working. So I got my small chopper, my little food chopper, and what I'm doing is I'm taking half of a bunch at a time and just kind of stuffing it down in there and then grinding it up, and what it's doing is it's removing it off of the larger stems. Since the stems are good and dry, they're kind of woody, those kind of separate pretty easy. Then I can pick out the bigger ones and then just dump everything else back in. So I don't want to pulverize it. I just want to break it up, like I said, to get those thicker leaves or those thicker stems off. So yeah, you can kind of see I'm kind of tangled around here, around my blade, because they're long. A couple of these buds didn't come off. I probably should have blended it a little bit more, but that's okay. I got plenty. Whoop. So I'll set those aside. Try and pull out these bigger ones that are sticking up at me, looking at me, because those I don't necessarily want in my tea. Put these little ones in here. So that's done, and I'm about maybe a quarter, a little bit more full here. So I'm just going to label this. I'm going to put the lid on it and just put it away now, and then clean up and get ready for my next project, which is going to be this kale that has been sitting here. I need to get it done so I can get it canned. So I will clean up and be back with you. Okay, so I went ahead and took a quick break, ate my lunch. Now I'm gonna get ready and finish up this kale so I can get it canned and out of the way. And so for a few minutes here, I'm gonna take and get all of these stemmed, and I'm putting them into my salad spinner so that then I can spin off all the water and then pack my jars. So this is really a canning job that really doesn't take too long, depending on the amount of kale that you have. I'm going to basically just cold pack these and put them in the jar, put some hot water over them, and can them up and be done with them. So I've had 2 other harvests that, of kale already, and they just keep producing. But those I blanched and I froze, and these I'm just going to can up for if I want soup, if I want it in place of spinach, because my spinach didn't do well this year. Next year maybe I'll try and be a little bit more, what do I want to say? A little bit more on the ball when it comes to my spinach. I just think I planted it too late, because it just didn't really come up at all. So yeah, so I can use these for a lot of different things. I love them in my smoothies. I try and have a smoothie every morning with my berries in it, so that at least I'm getting the dark berries. And I like to put this and then my protein powder in it. So it's nice to be able to have different types of kale ready that I can just grab and use wherever I need it. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get it done, and then we'll pack the jars. gonna do is that's everything that I washed and destemmed, and I was checking really good and make sure I got dirt and worms and all of that kind of stuff, and any of the ugly looking rougher leaves I discarded. So I'll take all of that out and feed it to my chickens because they love that stuff anyway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my jars. I've got them washed and ready to go, so I'm going to start filling them, and then I will put hot water in them, make sure all the air bubbles are out, and get them ready to put into the canner. These filled with water. We'll get the bubbles out. I'm just going to lid these, process them, and then put them away. And that's pretty well it. I've got my canner. It's a 32 quart canner, so I can fit 7 of these, 8 of these probably in there, and process them all at one time.